Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Daily Dizzle. I got my addictions and my problems. Bitch, you have an easy life. Ah! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Daily Dizzle. It is St. Patrick's Day 2011, Thursday, March 17th. Tommy Dizzlemits here with you as always. So it's St. Patrick's Day, so that means you're either drunk right now, or we are holding you up from going and getting drunk. So let's jump right into things. We do not want to prevent you guys from getting to the best holiday of the year. Unfortunately, we're going to have to kick it off with some sad news. Anyone who's seen either Tim Burton or Joel Schumacher's versions of the Batman films, those four that came out in the late 80s and the early 90s, there's some of them that suck, some of them are good. There's one thing that you can pinpoint above any of the other Batman films. It's definitely the portrayal of Alfred Pennyworth, played by Michael Gough, of course, in the film. It just seemed like almost like the prototypical old man, butler, servant, best friend kind of deal, confidant, everything like that. But he seemed like if you were going to go out and get a butler, you'd want to hire the dude right out of the movie. Unfortunately, that will no longer be possible as Michael Gough is no longer with us, having died at the age of 94. However, dude looked like he was 90 in some of those Batman films, so I'm surprised he was as young as he was. But at the same time, I'm also surprised that he was able to keep going right up until the end, having appeared in a lot of Tim Burton movies over the last couple of years, even though they were more the animated ones, but still, he kept an active career. He will definitely be an actor whose presence is missed in the long run. Now to jump into the latest movie news, Tommy Lee Jones might be starring opposite Meryl Streep in the film Great Hope Springs from Mandate Pictures, apparently. The film made the Blacklist, which is a yearly list of scripts that come out that, for whatever reason, are almost unmakeable, but are some of the best scripts just ever written, period. In the last couple of years, you've had a lot of them ended up breaking out, being huge success stories. Like The Social Network actually made the Blacklist one year, and this year it won Academy Awards. So the Blacklist is definitely something to be recognized for. But the script does follow a middle-aged couple who, after 3 decades of marriage, they intend intense counseling weekend to examine the intimacy issues threatening their marriage. Now, sometimes studios are a little bit cautious when trying to get a movie that puts so much star power between their older actors or actresses in the main roles. One example was The Bridges of Madison County from years ago. Clint Eastwood directed it. Meryl Streep was in it. Meryl Streep was only 45 at the time and was told that she was too old for the role. Kind of funny considering now she's like in her 60s and is probably at the peak of her career. But still, sometimes these movies tend to be a little bit of a gamble, only because you are aiming it at almost a very, very, very specific audience that tends not to go out to the movies. Old people. Sometimes they can't even walk without breaking their hips. Moving on to other news, though. Tom Hanks doesn't pop up in movies a lot, so it's awesome when you hear that he's going to do something like Toy Story 3, or, I'm going to be a producer and possibly star in, this, or, me and Tim Allen are going to do a Disney theme park movie. So, of course, trying to keep that everyman reputation going. Does anyone remember all that Somalia pirate deals with the dude who got kidnapped and he tried to make an escape attempt, and then the government got involved and 3 out of the 4 pirates were shot dead? Yeah. Tom Hanks is going to be Captain Richard Phillips, the dude who got kidnapped and held hostage by the pirates. They're going to recount the true story. Yeah, I'll probably watch it. If that's not enough to get you excited, then the fact that Kevin Spacey is also producing it should be, considering, his company doesn't produce the worst movies. 21 and The Social Network might have not crossed $100 million, but they both got about as close as you can without actually breaking the mark. So, at the very least, his company makes successful movies, and if you have a successful company getting a successful actor on board, something tells me this movie might be, successful. But speaking of Kevin Spacey, he was in the last Superman movie, and now they've got another one going. Zack Snyder, he's out talking about Sucker Punch. Of course, he gets asked a little bit about Superman. We also had Diane Lane also being asked about being Martha Kent in the movie, and she pretty much talks up the, he's got a good take on the story, and, I gotta do something good with the role, and blah, 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 blah. But really, the big news to come out of any of this talking is the fact that Zack Snyder is pretty much committing to the Batman Begins route, which is you ignore everything that came before you. Not necessarily ignore it, but incorporate it. Do not assume that the audience has seen the previous movies, and don't assume that the audience is smart enough to connect the film to certain other prequels. Like the fact that everyone's expected to know, the last Superman movie followed Superman 1 and 2, but not 3 and 4. It's going to follow anything Superman, so how do you ignore some things that happen in the meantime? Luckily with this one, though, they're going to retcon everything, start it right from the beginning, so anything that happens that we need to see is going to be shown on screen, kind of like Batman Begins started it with Bruce Wayne being out in the middle of nowhere, backtracked from there to show the different, interesting take on what could have been the same old, his parents got killed story. It was very nice that they switched it up like that, kind of going backwards and then going even further backwards to jump forwards. Plus, the ninja training with Batman was the shit. Like, that's what made the movie, the fact that Batman was a ninja. I don't expect anything with Superman learning, oh, big strong boy! But, they can have some kind of built-up anticipation in it. So, at the very least, hopefully they'll follow a good formula that has already been set by being like, oh, something happened to him? Well, we have to show it in our story and show it from the beginning. Ha-ta-da. Just please, if you're going to do one of those running through the farm sequences where he's jumping through the cornfields, please don't make it as CGI cheesy as the last movie. Thank you. Moving on to other comic book movie news. Of course, you have the sequel to Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, coming out. Johnny Whitworth, who's going to be the villain in the film, you won't recognize the name unless you've seen Empire Records. And if you've seen Empire Records, you will recognize Johnny Whitworth as the Zach Morris / James Vanderbeek kind of looking dude of the film. The one who's trying to bang Steven Tyler's daughter. Yeah, that one. You could have told me that he had died after Empire Records, and I probably would have believed it. But luckily for all those girls who spent night after night staring at his dreamy good looks, he'll be back. He's going to be playing an albino half-demon Blackout, who will serve as the main antagonist of the Ghost Rider film. So with Transformers 3 coming out this year, everyone obviously knows that our favorite on-screen couple, Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox, will not be together anymore. It's very interesting that both would find themselves in the news today. So starting with Shia LaBeouf, he is now attached to the film Horns, based on a book. He will play a 26-year-old who awakens from a hangover and finds horns sprouting from his head. As the horns grow, he sets out to investigate the unsolved murder of his girlfriend and what the hell that has to do with the horns. So it should be very interesting at the very least. You know those mornings, like tomorrow, where you're going to wake up and be like, oh my god, my head is fucking killing? Imagine waking up like that, and then being like, oh my god, my head is killing, there's something sticking out of it! So yeah, moving on to the Megan Fox news though. Apparently, her and Albert Brooks are in negotiations to appear in the follow-up to Knocked Up. Of course, if you haven't heard about that, Judd Apatow is directing it. And you will have Leslie Mann, who is his wife, and Paul Rudd, the married couple, reprising their roles. Right now, the rumor is that Albert Brooks is going to be playing Paul Rudd's father. Albert Brooks might not be the most recognizable name in Hollywood, but if you've ever seen the Simpsons movie, he was the bad guy in that. He has also done mad cameos on The Simpsons, among other places. I think my favorite movie of his that everyone hates is Looking for Comedy in the Muslim World. Definitely not as offensive as I expected it to be, but I guess people just don't like Albert Brooks. But still, you have Albert Brooks possibly being Paul Rudd's father, and Megan Fox's role has not been identified yet. Maybe she's going to be the homewrecker, considering that's what she does a very good job doing in general. Oops. Moving on to other big movie news, Scream 4. When it was going into production, they had scriptwriter Kevin Williamson involved, who had done the other ones. And then mid-production, Aaron Kruger ended up rewriting it. Both good scriptwriters, but still, there was a little bit of an issue in the middle of there because Wes Craven went on his Twitter and is like, oh, I don't have control of the script no more. They're telling me what to do. He's followed it up now at this point, essentially saying that, Kevin Williamson's script was good, and then they had someone else rewrite it a little bit. And essentially the same ideas were there, but it wasn't me writing the script. It was me bringing my expertise on how to make it look awesome to whatever shit was on the page. I'm sure once the film is out, he will do some tell-all once it doesn't do as well as it's expected to about, well, this in the original script was so much better, and this thing was different, and that thing was different. Because that's how Wes Craven tends to combat the fact that every so often when his career and his name aren't worth too much. Like, I don't know, like that 3D movie that came out that didn't make any money. That was his first 3D horror movie. Yeah, that's going to be his way to save face in the end of, well, I had to do it because they told me to, but I wanted to do it differently. So that will bring us now to our top news stories of the day before we run out of time. Number 3, Darren Aronofsky is no longer involved with the Wolverine. The director of Pi, Requiem for a Dream, and Black Swan was supposed to take the next step of the Wolverine story, covering his time in Japan as a samurai. And he was going to put that on film, and it was going to probably be one of the greatest crazy-ass adaptations of a comic ever. However, a statement has come out from him saying, oh, I didn't realize I'd be away from my family for a year around the world, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with all this shit going on in Japan right now. Not at all. The funny thing was, for all the talk about this movie and how much they had actually prepared for it, it wasn't ever officially greenlit. So, they at least have time to get it going again, see if they can find another director who could possibly handle it, or see if they still want to shoot on location in Tsunami Land. But I'm sure there will be a few twists and turns and changes to this one. So hopefully we'll have a better idea of if they're still going to do the Wolverine. Hopefully there'll be an equally as talented director, or just an equally as crazy director. You just need someone who will make you feel like you're tripping balls, because anyone who's seen Requiem for a Dream can definitely attest that it's not really a movie that you can focus on, but it's good for how jarring it is. Number 2, the American Pie crew is coming back to the big screen. As of now, officially, Jason Biggs, Seann William Scott, and Eugene Levy are signed on for American Reunion. Obviously, looking to be another American Pie film on the big screen with the original cast. Everyone, gives these movies crap, considering by the third American Pie film, they had kind of dropped off a little bit. But even after that, you look at the direct-to-video ones, which people might want to talk a lot of crap about. I even talk shit about them when they would come out, and then I'd catch them on TV and have to admit, these aren't as shitty as they could be. And that is why every time they've come out with a new one on DVD, they've set sales records. So obviously, you have movies that made money in theaters, the movies that just go out to DVD that are crap keep making money. Try and get people to go back out to the theaters for it. Awesome thing, though. The script writers from Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay have written the script. And the big story for today, Taken 2. If you didn't already think you had seen it when Unknown came out, officially there is a sequel to Taken in the works. However, yesterday morning word came out that they were looking into possibly replacing Liam Neeson in it with either Mickey Rourke, Ralph Fiennes, Ray Winstone, Sean Bean, Jason Isaacs. One of that list of, oh wow, those are also intense badass actors. However, you gotta ask yourself, why would you want to replace Liam Neeson? Apparently, there was a possible scheduling conflict with Liam Neeson and the director, because the director, Luke Besson, wanted to have it shot at the end of this year. However, between Taken and Clash of the Titans and Batman and A-Team, just the last couple of years of Liam Neeson's career have been one of the biggest times ever. So he wanted to take the rest of this year off just to get some rest in after finishing the Clash of the Titans sequel before he jumped into another sequel. However, at that point, they were like, what? No, we want to have it done this year. Blah, blah, blah. So at that point, the new notice goes out listing all the other possible actors. And then someone realizes, oh wait, wasn't Liam Neeson's character the whole point of the first Taken? So yeah, someone must have realized that they need Liam Neeson, because now apparently they've come to some kind of compromise. At least now you can be prepared in the long run for 2 years from now when you start being bombarded with ads that proclaim, prepare to be taken again. So yeah, that's all the time we've got on today's Daily Dizzle, but we do thank you guys for joining us here as always. If this is your first time checking us out, be sure to click the username Dizzlemits or go to youtube.com/Dizzlemits. Keep up on all the other Daily Dizzles you might have missed, and don't forget to check out the archives for our other original content. Tomorrow we've got a preview of the weekend box office with Limitless, The Lincoln Lawyer, and Paul opening wide. We also have a look at some new release dates set, including a very Harold and Kumar Christmas, so be sure to check back tomorrow for that. For the Daily Dizzle, I'm Tommy Dizzlemits. we will see you on Friday.